I got a lot of family in here, right? CSI, Forever Free family, and Cura. A lot of people I've known for a long time, right? It's good to be in recovery in here with all y'all in here tonight. Because at a time I was running from everybody. Today I'm facing everything, right? So, my name is Justin. I'm a grateful believer in Jesus Christ who is forever free from alcohol, drugs, and a criminal lifestyle. Yes. My sobriety date is February 7th, 2023. Each day of my sobriety, I make a deep personal commitment every day to the Lord. Each day is a day of surrender each day. Because if I let my guard down, addiction is cunning, baffling, powerful, and it will get me. So I'm 52 years old. My parents divorced when I was 6 months old. My dad was alcoholic. And I got confused at an early age because about the ages of 3 and 5, I didn't understand when they got divorced when I was 6 months old why we would still go around my dad at the ages of 3 and 5, right? So I remember going over there like on a Friday and everything would be fine and everything, right? So he would act nice to her and everything. But by Saturday, he would put a drink in him and he would be abusive. And before I knew it, we would return back to our apartment. So that confused me as a kid. She'd say, don't go around your dad. She always said that to me. But I understand now, you know, the good side of me, if I'm doing well, I got my mom's characteristics. If I'm doing bad, I got my dad's characteristics. So I'm going to stick with my mom's characteristics, you know. So this was a period of my life that was confusing. But when I was 5 years old, my world really changed because I grew up in a house where my grandfather lived in the back, right? So my grandfather always let me jump up and down his bed and everything, right? And I was real close to him. So he died when I was 5, and he was buried on my 6th birthday. So I'm 6 years old, right? I'm confused. I don't understand why I can't go to his funeral, but they got a birthday party for me after my grandfather's funeral. So I couldn't quite understand why. Why me? Why can't I go to his funeral? So this left me, you know, very sad. This experience marked the beginning of my struggle with faith, leading me to harbor resentment against God right off the bat. 6 years old, why you take my grandfather from me, right? So see, I thought God was against me as a child right then and there. So that's resentment against God starting out. So as I turned 10, that resentment deepened when my brother, who was 15, tragically drowned. His untimely death plunged me in a more bottomless pit of self-pity in my life at 10 years old. I became engulfed in grief and anger at an early age, failing to recognize the immense pain my mother was going through in her life. See, I already thought it was all about me, right? I was selfish and self-centered way before I took a drink or a drug. I needed an inventory long before the drink or the drug. See, the gateway drug for us is not the drugs. That's our solution. The gateway drug for us is like trauma, depression, low self-esteem, things of that nature, right? And that's the things we usually use off of. So in that dark moment, when my brother died, it became clear that selfishness and self-centeredness began to take a hold of me, clouding my ability to empathize with my mother's suffering. So as I continued in education, I was in a private school, so I lived right next door to my school. So I have you be, my mom, she was one of the ones, you know, she worked tirelessly to provide for us on our modest income. It became a source of shame, though, in my life because I'm going to school with these rich kids whose parents are doctors, lawyers, stuff of that nature. They had the Leave It to Beaver family, right? You know, they got everything together, it so seems, right? But my mom worked tirelessly. My mom gave so much love to me, you know, so much, you know. The things that my mom went through could never compare to what I went through, having to deal with me, you know. So during a confusing and challenging time in my youth, I began to confront the complicated feelings surrounding loss, faith, and finding out who I truly was, right? So in my teenage years, I tried to find my identity, right? I already told y'all, see, low self-esteem was a big thing for me going to school in private schools and everything. So as I tried to find my identity with a low self-esteem that I had, it led me to join gangs selling drugs, the criminal lifestyle, because I wanted to always fit in. I wanted to start fitting in life, right, and things I was doing. So see, I was attracted to the criminal lifestyle right then and there at an early age. I look back at my life and I remember it was like sixth grade. I remember I could con and manipulate my mother. See, I wanted 2 spring breaks. I didn't like hanging out with the private school kids. I wanted to go to the boys' club and hang out with the public school kids. So see, sixth grade, after my brother drowned, I became real rebellious. I became, manipulative, way before a drink or a drug, again, I tell you. Now, I see then, though, looking back, my thinking was distorted. I would be on probation or parole and installment plans for 20 years of my life, a constant source of worry and stress to my family. I was not living life, but merely existing in that self-destructive cycle in my life. Looking back, I realized I was not ready to give up my childish ways and be a responsible adult. I was so self-centered in my life, and it was all about me. I lived in a fantasy world and did not want to face reality, which only deepened the pain and suffering of those around me. I caused a lot of pain in my mom's life. Although she never gave up on me, she enabled me along the way. From 2003 to 2004, I was locked up for 9 months during that stretch. During that time, she would come visit me and we would have long talks. We would correspond through the mail and everything. And I had this idea as my release date approached that I had promised her I wouldn't drink or do drugs again. But I had this fabulous idea, my distorted thinking, right? Man, I'm not going to drink or do drugs when I get out, but I'm going to sell them. This was not a good plan, right? As I eventually fell back into drinking and using drugs. It was December 30th, 2006, when my fantasy world became a reality. I walked into the apartment and discovered my mom in her chair, and she was unresponsive. My mom had died, and then a week later, my grandmother died. So let y'all know about 2007. I'm already in my addiction. My mom dies, then my grandmother dies. So the first 2 Saturdays of 2007, I'm at funerals. So right then and there, I had a cold, dark, lonely spot in my life. I didn't care if I lived or I died at this time. 2007. I would end up homeless in jail during this year. So now it was time for me to realize right then and there that my life was at rock bottom. I would be placed in drug court near the end of the year. I would fail some drug tests, right? And Judge McGowan, she sent me to a place called Serenity Park. My sobriety date would be January the 7th, 2008. I began to see what I had suffered from my whole life, and that was a spiritual malady. It was at Serenity Park that I began to look at the facts of my life and know that my life was unmanageable. See, my whole life, y'all, I believe God was hell, fire, and brimstone. I believe God would never forgive me for the things I had done in my life, right? So I was a vicious, self-destructive cycle over and over. I said, he's never going to forgive me. I'm just going to keep on going like I am, right? So I'll never forget this. This counselor walked in. The counselor said, I want y'all to know one thing. He looked at all of us in the class, and he said, God would be bored if it wasn't for people like y'all. And I thought to myself, man, I got a chance now. It was right then and there, a light bulb come on. They'd already told me step 1, I had a physical allergy and a mental obsession. Physical allergy of the body, a mental obsession of the mind. Once I put one in me, I couldn't quit. Same results today. The only place that ever stopped me was jail. Because if I went broke, I told you I could lie, con, cheat, manipulate. So in treatment, I found God and discovered he will meet you right where you are if you seek him. I began to see the goodness, kindness, love, grace, and mercy of God. I discovered that God loves to meet us at our bottom and lift us out of a pit of despair. It was after I got out of treatment, my sponsor picked me up at Serenity House, and that was the outpatient of the park where I lived. Right then and there, 2008, I committed my life to Jesus Christ. See, John 8:32 states, you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. Well, see, my whole life I had lived a lie. So right then and there, I turned to Jesus, and I knew Jesus would set me free. I began to look at truths in my life right then and there, right? So John 14:6, Jesus said, I'm the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. So I knew I had to accept Jesus in my life. So during that time, my life underwent a remarkable transformation. At 9 months sober, I received a job offer to work at Serenity Park. And this was a community dedicated to supporting individuals in recovery. This opportunity marked a pivotal moment in my journey, allowing me to channel my experiences into helping others navigate similar challenges. I approached recovery right then and there with utmost seriousness, sponsoring people, having a sponsor, chairing meetings, doing the things that kept me sober, right? Service work became a cornerstone of my life. Recovery was my life. That's what I looked up for all the time. See, the spiritual life is not a theoretical concept. Spiritual life is about action. It's about commitment and action in your life. You have to commit to your recovery. If you don't commit to your recovery, you're going to fall by the wayside. I prioritized my relationship with God during that time, my recovery above everything else. Each Sunday, I found solace and community at church where I connected with others who shared my faith. Living a spiritual life became not just a goal, but a daily practice. My routine was structured and focused. I always say you got to have a healthy routine in your life. So I did those things. But oh, woe was me. 2007. Remember, I had a miserable year that year, right? I went to treatment in 08. So here comes 2017 rolling along. I'm sober still and everything. 9 years at the time. I embarked on a relationship with a captivating woman. She also had the complexities of raising 3 children. Well, I had arrived. I tell you, I had it picked out. I had the 2-story house in the cove. It was this facade, right? I had this stability, like everything was fine, right? It looked good on the outside. But boy, when you walked in the house, it was nothing but eggshells. The woman I had chosen to be with struggled with alcohol, and despite the odds, we both believed that my support could guide her towards sobriety. I was not attending meetings or working the program at all. Alongside this shift, I've drifted away from going to church, everything. Oh. It was late in 2018. I yielded to the desire to drink again. And before long, our relationship became toxic, but would go on for years to come. It was in 2021 when she moved from the house. My addiction to drugs began. But she and I were still codependent on each other. And I caught myself going over to her apartment all the time. Oh, yeah. 2022 became the year I caught numerous orders of protection violations. I set a world record. I defy the law. When I'm in my addiction, it's me against the world, you know. It's nobody else. Nobody can get in my way. I'm selfish and I'm self-centered. So on February the 7th, 2023, I reached a turning point. The Maumelle judge was sick and tired of me and ordered me to Pulaski County Jail. It was this moment again I saw rock bottom, right? February 7th, 2023, which is my sobriety date now. During my time there, I reconnected with a woman that I knew from when I was sober before. And that lady is Miss Kathy McConnell, Mama Kathy. Yes. And she's our mother, CSI, you know. The life she pours into us, you know, she meets us right when we're at our bottom of life. And when I saw her in that hall before she got me in CSI that day, she looked at me and she goes, yeah, I remember you. You done lost a lot of weight, though. And I said, Miss Kathy, I want to get in CSI. This is 9 o'clock in the morning. By 1 o'clock that afternoon, she has come got me out of W1. And she was in the hall, and she goes, was that fast enough for you? And I hit my knees right there in that hallway. And I started crying, and I gave it to Jesus. See, the thing about Miss Kathy is she helps us lift up the positive and shake off the negative in our life. She lets us know we are somebody. We might have made bad choices, but we can get back on track. So it was right there in CSI. Every Tuesday night, it was always my highlight, right? I'd tell them, I'd say, man, y'all roll that TV out there. We got to watch Care and Recovery, right? First North Little Rock. Y'all better roll that TV out there. Because that was my highlight of the week, was watching this right here on TV. From the jail. See, CSI's Taj Mahal of the Pulaski County Jail. Nobody else gets classes. Nobody else gets a TV rolled through there. If anything, you're looking at this little box and all the other units, right? You're fighting over the TV. So there, Care and Recovery at First North Little Rock, I would watch it. Now known as Forever Free. I chose to surrender my sinful nature to the cross, inspired by a lesson that was shared that evening. See, Galatians 5:24 states, those who belong to Christ Jesus have nailed their passions and desires of their sinful nature to the cross and crucified them there. This meant that I would put to death the sins of the flesh. It was meant for me to die to myself and grow closer to Christ. I was to now live a life of being led by the Spirit. See, step 3 is the most important step of all the steps. If I could tell y'all anything, it's the keystone which holds you together for freedom, right? But like Pastor Lane always says, it's a daily, perpetual act of surrender. You can never let your guard down because addiction is cunning, baffling, and powerful. It'll come knock a patch out of your head. So see, when you turn your will and your life over to God's care, you turn your thinking and your actions over to God, letting Him begin working in your life and directing your path. This step would help me make the choices that align with this commitment and seek strength and guidance from God daily. Another most important step to me is step 11. See, step 11 is real important, prayer and meditation. It's like my cell phone talking to God, right? And you can talk to God without Wi-Fi. You can be in any area of your life, whether you're doing good or you're doing bad. But see, this prayer and meditation is simply this. When you're talking to God, right, that's the mouthpiece. So when you're meditating, you're listening back to Him. So that's your earpiece. As you meditate, you listen back to God talk to you. Colossians 4:2 states, devote yourselves to prayer with an alert mind and a thankful heart. Always be grateful for what you have. If you're grateful, you can't be hateful. I promise you. As I pray, I acknowledge my need for God every day. I'm reminded to keep my eyes on Him as I make prayer a daily priority in my life. Be thankful for God. I thank Him for His help, and I'm aware of the help He gives me. As I turn to God in prayer, I embrace His power, sufficient to meet all my needs in recovery. I didn't say some, all. So my life verses are Proverbs 3:5-6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. Seek His will in all you do, and He will show you which path to take. See, this verse tells me that God will guide me down the right path if I trust Him rather than try to do it myself. It reminds me to put God first in my life. Surrendering to His leadership is humbling, but it is the only way to live a good life. I owe my success to the unwavering support of influential groups like CSI and Forever Free. These communities have become an integral part of my recovery journey, as I am deeply committed to staying connected and avoiding a return to the chaos of my past life. The process group I completed right here at First NLR was transformative. It allowed me to forge deep, meaningful relationships with my Forever Free family that I still have today, right? The process group, if y'all never gotten a process group, you better get in one, because you're shortchanging yourself if you're not in a process group. See, the essence of recovery is about making steadfast commitments. And I embody this principle by regularly attending Forever Free here in Bologna. Recovery is fundamentally about building connections. Actual change thrives on the bonds we create with one another. While isolation stops growth. See, addiction is giving up everything for one thing, and recovery is giving up one thing for everything. Addiction can be defined as a state in which an individual sacrifices all aspects of their life, such as relationships, health, goals, and dreams, to pursue a single substance or behavior that provides temporary relief or pleasure. See, recovery is a transformative journey in which a person lets go of that harmful addiction to regain control over their life and embrace a more fulfilling existence. Vision your life in recovery, right? And make that life so good that you don't want to return back. But always put the spiritual first. Because if you put the flesh or the material, I'll be waiting on you when you come back. I know too well. I can tell you what to do and what not to do. See, my recovery journey today is based on 1 Peter 5:10. In his kindness, God called you to share in his eternal glory through Jesus Christ. So after you have suffered a while, he will restore, support, and strengthen you and place you on a firm foundation. See, God was waiting for me to turn from my addiction and surrender my life back to him. God has allowed for the guilt and shame from my past to be removed and placed me on solid ground in my recovery. God has restored me to working in the recovery field again and allowed me now to go to the front of the jail and go in and lead a recovery live class with my CSI brothers. See, God has graciously guided me back into the recovery field where I serve as a counselor in training at Incura. In this fulfilling role, I have the privilege of leading a group of individuals struggling with alcoholism and addiction, helping them navigate their path toward recovery. Witnessing their progress and transformation is incredibly rewarding in my life, and it reaffirms my belief in the purpose God has restored me in my life. In addition to my counseling responsibilities, I manage a transitional house where many residents arrive after leaving the halfway house. This place is a critical stepping stone for those working to reintegrate in society, providing them with support and a stable environment as they rebuild their lives. I am reminded daily of how God orchestrates my journey, enabling me to do the work I could not achieve independently. I'm genuinely amazed by the depth of God's grace and mercy that he has abundantly shown in my life, even in moments of weakness and doubt. Throughout my journey, I have witnessed God's love transform challenges into opportunities for growth. But most importantly, to the newcomer in the room, I want y'all to know you are the most important person here. Yes. You are the most important. Your presence matters profoundly. And I keep encouraging you to return and remain steadfast in your recovery journey. Commitment and perseverance. Those are the biggest things right there, commitment and perseverance. As you embrace this path, you will discover a life filled with possibilities you may have never imagined. It's essential to maintain your focus on God throughout this journey. Always nourish your spirit by engaging in activities that uplift you, such as prayer, meditation, or connecting with supportive communities like right here, Forever Free. Take the time to deepen your relationship with Jesus Christ, as this connection will anchor you during challenging times. Don't remain in that state if you feel defeated or you fall. Reach out for God's help with a humble heart. He is always ready to lift and guide you back onto your feet. Trusting in this higher power will give you the strength and clarity to continue moving forward. Remember, this journey is yours to embrace. And with each step, you'll grow stronger and be more resilient along the way. Create a clear vision for your life that makes you want to stay away from addiction. Build your life with a strong purpose and identity in it. Be patient with yourself as you go on this journey. Allow God to let you grow in character and build your life. God will allow you to heal from the inside out. Get a home group like Forever Free, where you stay connected, commit to a healthy, structured life, and build discipline in your recovery by setting healthy boundaries. Avoid triggers and high-risk situations in life by having a relapse prevention plan to help navigate these challenges. Be sure to set and pursue goals that are attainable in your life. But most importantly, keep coming back. The program works if you work it, and you can be forever free. I want to leave you with this. Recovery is not just about quitting substances. It's about transforming your entire life. For so long, I believed that God was against me and that my circumstances define my worth. But through my journey, I've learned that we can find hope and purpose even amidst our darkest moments. When I began seeking God, everything changed. I discovered that his love is unconditional and that he has a plan for each of us, no matter how far we've strayed. There were days when I felt like giving up, but it was in those moments of desperation that I found strength I didn't know I possessed. Surround yourself with people who uplift you and remind you of your worth, like Miss Kathy did me, like Pastor Lane stayed on me, Let me tell you, if Pastor Lane don't see you, he's going to reach out to you. And I'm grateful for that, because when I first got out of jail, there was times I didn't come a week. He said, man, what are you doing? So I don't think I've missed a day in a whole year now, you know. I mean, I promise you, he's not going to tell you anything that's going to hurt you. He's here to help you, man. We all are here to help you. So find your support and recovery, whether through meetings, sponsors, or faith communities. It's right here, forever free. Remember, it's okay to take things one day at a time. Healing takes time. It's a journey filled up and downs. Embrace the process and don't be afraid to lean on others. There will be struggles, but also there will be moments of joy and clarity. As you navigate this path, we know that you're not alone. We're here together, and if I can get through my challenges, so can you. Take that leap of faith. Keep moving forward. You have the power to change your life and rewrite your story. Trust in the process. Lean into your support system. And above all, believe that a brighter future awaits you. God bless you in your journey to recovery. Thank you.